What is up, guys? Delboy here. So a rather intriguing heavyweight clash has been announced for the undercard of Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter. We have Adam Kownacki versus Charles I Walk This Earth Like a God Martin. I cannot wait for this one. Listen, in my opinion, neither one of these guys are going to become elite level heavyweights. But it doesn't mean that this fight isn't intriguing, and it doesn't mean that this fight is going to be bad. I actually feel that stylistically this one should gel quite well. It should make for a fun 12 or 10 rounds of boxing, whatever it's scheduled at. Adam Kownacki, I think he is going to be the bookie's favourite going into this fight. He is the fresher guy. He's got the undefeated record. He has a bit of momentum. In July last year, he picked up a career best win over Arthur Spilka, a former world title challenger, and he's coming off a win over Iago Kaladze as well. So, Kownacki has started to make a name for himself. He's an entertaining fighter, and he is coming into this fight with a bit of momentum. As for Charles Martin, well, we all know the story of Charles Martin. I was aware of this guy when he was a prospect. He was kind of bubbling along. He was picking up wins over less than stellar opposition. Then Tyson Fury was stripped of his IBF title, and he was in line to fight for the vacant title against Tsar Glaskov. He won that fight by a TKO, but obviously Glaskov hurt his knee in that fight, and Charles Martin won the belt. And obviously Charles Martin lost his belt in his very first title defence to Anthony Joshua. Since then, Charles Martin has had a couple of comeback fights last year. He fought Byron Poli, he beat him by stoppage, and he also beat Michael Marone by stoppage. So since the defeat to Anthony Joshua back in April 2016, Martin has picked up a couple of stoppage wins at a low level. The problem for Charles Martin is he's got no momentum going into this fight, and he's been inactive. And all this time he's been out of a ring, you've got to question what he's been doing. How's he been looking after himself? Because, after the Joshua fight, there are several strange videos of Charles Martin. He was appearing to be under the influence of some kind of good shit. He clearly wasn't living the fighter's lifestyle, that's for certain. I believe he even got shot as well in that time period. So, listen, when Charles Martin has been out of a ring, you've got to question what he's been getting up to and what type of shape he's going to go into this fight in. And obviously the inactivity as well could pose a problem, especially with Martin's style. Charles Martin is a southpaw. He kind of likes to pour that jab and look for that long left hand behind it. He's kind of like a distance fighter, likes to gauge his range and pick you off with that left hand. So, I think the ring rust could affect Charles Martin going into this fight. I mentioned earlier that the style clash should be quite good. Adam Kownacki is literally a face-first brawler. He comes forward with very little defense and he swings. He goes for the body, he goes for the head. He maintains a really good punch output. For a fat guy, he is overweight and he doesn't look the part. But to be fair to Adam Kownacki, he does maintain a good work rate and he comes forward at quite a pace. And I think for someone like Charles Martin, he's going to find that hard to live with, especially being out of a ring for quite some time. Charles Martin is a guy who, like I said, he's a range fighter, but he really likes to dictate it at his own pace. And I feel that the pressure and the pace that Kownacki is going to put on him might be a little too much to handle after a long layoff without any activity. If Charles Martin was going into this fight being more active and having a few tough fights, even at a fringe level, I would be a lot more optimistic about his chances of pulling off a win, because I don't think it's going to take a great boxer to outbox Adam Kownacki, and I don't think it's going to take a great boxer or a great fighter to beat him, to be honest. Kownacki is what he is. He's a tough guy, he likes to come forward, he's aggressive, but defensively he leaves a lot of flaws. He gets hit flush a lot, his technique isn't the best, and he himself, like I said, you've got to question his dedication to the sport when you look at the shape he turns up in. So if Charles Martin was more focused going into this fight and was coming into this fight with greater activity, I'd be more optimistic. But I really can't see Charles Martin living with the pace that Kownacki's going to set. In the first couple of rounds, I could see Martin kind of messing him around, popping that jab, walking him into a couple of left hands. But as the fight wears on, I think Martin is going to get dragged into a bit of a battle, and he's going to fold. That's how I feel this is going to go down. I'm really leaning towards Adam Kownacki. I don't really believe in Adam Kownacki. In fact, I don't really believe in either one of these guys, but I just feel this fight favours Kownacki at this stage. As for Kownacki, I think, I don't think this guy's ever going to be a champion, but I think if you match him right, he will be involved in some good fights. If you put Kownacki in there with guys like Bryant Jennings or Derek Chisora, I think you're going to get some good fights, but any sort of level above that, I really feel this guy's going to come unstuck. But we'll see what happens with Kownacki. I'm expecting him to win this fight, but it is intriguing, Adam Kownacki is just a blob who comes forward and throws punches, whereas Charles Martin is a bit of a head case and an enigma. So we'll see what happens. What do you guys think of this fight? Peace.